We have one more guest that has joined us, another champion. MADD is honored to have Chairman Jim Oberstar here to mark this important occasion. Chairman Oberstar's Surface Transportation Authorization Act includes several measures designed to eliminate drunk driving, including an all-offender ignition interlock standard, a strengthened approach to managing federal traffic safety dollars, the establishment of a DUI coordinator in every state, and increased funding for key DUI prevention programs. Thank you, Chairman Oberstar, for your leadership and commitment to the elimination of drunk driving. Please come join us.
Well, Laura, I don't have to say anything. You said it already. You gave my whole speech. And yes, she said, and Stephanie did that, yes. Stephanie Manning, who served with MADD and then served on our committee staff, and left for a higher calling to be a mother. Congratulations on your two beautiful children and for being such a great mother and continuing this cause to make sure that their lives will not be shortened by some fool out in a car who's had too much to drink and thinks that he or she can navigate that car. Rarely has a national movement had so dramatic and tangible effect on public conduct and public policy as MADD has done in just 3 short decades. You have tamed an epidemic of drunk driving that in the 1980s was killing 30,000 people alone, just alcohol and driving. And it's now down to just under 11,000 fatalities a year. That's an extraordinary change of habits and conduct and of public and state law. You have stimulated social consciousness across this country, within the states, nationally. You have shifted public opinion, both at state level and nationally. You have succeeded in enacting legislation that among the states and in the Congress on this critical issue, this social disease of alcohol and driving. 1984, July, the first Uniform Drinking Age Act. That alone, NHTSA has said, has saved over 25,000 lives. Zero tolerance laws for minors. All states have complied. The .08 legal limit. Now, mind you, those achievements were not just gimmies. It all sounds good. We ought to do these things. This is the right thing to do. Why don't people do it? It took years to get that enacted. It took years of effort at the grassroots level, of demonstrations, of meetings, drives, public consciousness rallies to move the legislatures in the states and to move the Congress to enact legislation. These things don't just happen by themselves because they're a good thing to do, because it's in the public interest. It happens because people come to rallies like this and show a portrait of a child or a family member who died because someone was drinking and driving. There is more to be done. There always is more to be done in public safety. The University of Minnesota Transportation Research Center, with their Center for Rural Safety Excellence, has mapped out all of the rural roads in the country where a fatality has occurred, time of day, road conditions, weather conditions, line of sight, and condition of the driver, whether alcohol or other drugs or stimulants were used. So now all state departments of transportation have no excuse. They know where the fatalities occurred, they know what the conditions were, and they can address them, and where alcohol was a factor, they can address that too with more vigorous enforcement. We need to do the ignition interlock so that all convicted, impaired, and repeat offenders have that installed for 6 months, and we'll do that in our next transportation bill. And we have to do more with the National Driver Register, often overlooked, but something that I initiated in the 1970s it took till the Highway Bill of 1982 to get it enacted. But with a touch of a button, every state driver license agency can find out whether you've had your license removed in one state and you're now applying to get it in another state, or whether you've been convicted in one state and you're trying to get a driver license in another state, and prevent that from happening. We need to do this more and enforce this program and fund it more effectively. And in our surface transportation bill for the future of transportation in America, the reauthorization of the current law, we doubled the funding for highway safety to over $12 billion. And that is going to go, a good deal of that is going to go into changing habits and into the changing of mindset and activities and social consciousness and awareness stimulating, as MADD has so successfully done. I will just reflect on a comment that a former chairman of our committee, Jim Howard, from New Jersey, observed in 1982 when we were in the throes of passing a Drive 55 law that had been used to save fuel. It saved lives. It saved thousands of lives on the nation's highways. And the night before that event, I had met with the Minnesota Highway Patrol. The night before our committee markup, I had met with the Minnesota Highway Patrol, southern part of my district. And halfway through, a state highway patrolman walked in, said, "I've just come from an accident. And Jim, I want you to go back to Washington and tell them it's at 80 miles an hour and drinking where you see the torn aortas and you can't put them back together. Stop the drinking and driving at high speeds." And Chairman Howard said, "You have only one opportunity in a career to save 5,000 lives. I'm insisting that we do this. With you, I'm insisting that we save another 10,000 lives by changing the habits of an errant public and raise the social consciousness to the concerns that MADD has raised. And never will those saved lives be able to thank you. That's not why you do this. You do it because it's the right thing. Thank you for your advocacy."